Baldur's Gate 3 has a goblin problem. My issue with the way that goblins are depicted in Baldur's Gate 3 is that by and large they're depicted as dumb, violent, and evil brutes who like to get drunk. This is an incredibly two-dimensional portrait of a creature which is, in fact, chaotic neutral. It also really irritates me that there's not one single goblin who can critically look at the Cult of the Absolute and decide that it's not for them. There's only one, and he's in a cage in the temple, and he is resolutely still an evil, neutral goblin. Doppelgangers and ogres are the only species that we don't see multiple alignments from apart from goblins. Goblins in Dungeons & Dragons used to be evil, but that's a pretty old-fashioned take. Also, the idea that any race is inherently evil is real dodgy. Most goblins are chaotic neutral. They love to party and make a nuisance of themselves, but they're not necessarily evil, just low impulse control. I think it's so disrespectful and not like Larian at all to paint a single species with one horrible brush. Take them getting drunk at a party, for example. In other cultures, this can be a way for worshippers to connect with their god through revelry and through having a different state of mind than when they're sober, allowing them to have a bit of a looser grasp on reality and convene with the upper plane, like with those who worship Dionysus or Bacchus. Now, although there are a lot of goblins in Baldur's Gate 3 who are tadpoled and thus can be controlled by a true soul, are you seriously telling me that out of the many untadpoled goblins, there's not a single one who thinks that the Cult of the Absolute might be a bad thing? You could be charitable here and say that all the goblins we see in Baldur's Gate 3 are reflected through Tav's perspective, and so their prejudice affects how we the players see goblins. But that just really doesn't do it for me. Goblins just deserved better in Baldur's Gate 3.